Hey guys, that's Tom Owens. I'm back here again with MMAFightPass.com, here with another podcast, guys. Today I'm here with Dave Manley. Dave, are you the owner or are you the creator of the MMA bobbleheads that everybody's talking about?
Yeah, I am both. I am the founder, creator, the workhorse. I'm everything.
How long? I know we've been big fans of your guys' bobbleheads. I've seen all different types of them. And how far does it go back, Dave? How long have you been doing this?
Yeah, so in April it will be, about 4 years ago, about 3.5 years ago, I went to go purchase a bobblehead of my favorite fighter, who was Dan Henderson. And when I typed in Dan Henderson bobblehead, nothing came up. So, obviously I was a little bit irritated because Dan's my guy. I love Dan, and they make a bobblehead for everybody out there. I mean, the right fielder of the Milwaukee Brewers, who nobody knows about, they'll make 10,000 bobbleheads of this guy, but they didn't make one of Dan Henderson. So I was like, well, this sucks. So I typed in Robbie Lawler bobblehead, because Robbie was my second favorite fighter. I think he was the champion at the time, and they didn't make Robbie either. So I was like, what the fuck? How could they not make a Robbie? So now my irritation went to full-blown pissed off. And so I was determined to buy an MMA bobblehead, so I typed in the words, Conor McGregor bobblehead. Nothing came up. So when nothing came up, that's when I leaned back in this chair, in this office, and I just thought, my anger went from inspiration. And I thought, can I do this? I have an artistic background. I have a family full of artists, professional artists, and I've always been creative my entire life. And I thought, why can't I do this? I know nothing about bobbleheads, nothing about bobblehead technology. I've owned one bobblehead my entire life before this, and it was a gift given to me. So I thought, what the hell? Let me try to see what I can do here. And I spent the next year of my life figuring out how bobbleheads are made.
That's what I was going to ask you. And you mentioned that bobblehead technology. When you do all these famous fighters, before you do one of these bobbleheads, do you actually work with the fighter face to face, or what does it take? What's the process?
Yeah. So in the beginning, I was just making bobbleheads just to make bobbleheads. They look like absolute garbage in the beginning. It was a long process. Bobbleheads have been around for 50 plus years, but the thing about bobbleheads is they've always looked the same. They're very generic. The football player, is always holding the football, or the baseball player is like in the same pose holding the baseball. And if you didn't read the name on the base, you would never really know who that particular athlete is, because they look so cartoony, like 90% cartoony and maybe 10% realistic. I wanted to flip that around, and I wanted to do 90% realistic and 10% cartoony, and I wanted to take bobbleheads over to the next level in which they've never been taken before. So it took a lot of work. So to answer your question about the athletes, I was just making my favorite athletes and my favorite poses just to practice, because I had no clients, so to speak. I had no fighters saying yes. And on the contrary, the fighters were saying no. Fighter after fighter after fighter were saying no to me, and it was getting to be pretty frustrating. I came on the verge of quitting, and finally one day a fighter said yes, and that fighter happened to be Dan Henderson, which absolutely was a big, huge coincidence. Dan was my inspiration to start this company, and he was the first one to say yes, without knowing that he was the inspiration to start this company. So I felt like it was meant to be. So when Dan said yes, my life changed. And by that, it opened the door to other fighters, because if Dan can do it, then Chuck Liddell can do it. And if Chuck Liddell can do it, then Brian Ortega can do it. Then Joanna Jędrzejczyk and Cowboy Cerrone can do it. And that's just kind of the way the dominoes fell. So yeah, I work with the fighters. We decide on the pose together, and the fighters work with me in every phase. We don't go to phase 2 without getting the approval of phase 1.
And what about somebody was saying that they're done with? Do you use 3D printing for this type of deal, or how does it actually work to get the great detail that you get? Because I was looking at the George Masvidal one earlier, and man, it's pretty damn good, pretty clean.
Yeah, there it is,
right there.
Nice.
Check that out.
Yeah, it's the fly knee bobblehead. So funny thing about this bobblehead here is I was at the event in Las Vegas, and when he did the flying knee on Ben, I knew in my mind right then and there that I needed to make this bobblehead, but I hadn't talked with Jorge yet, and I was thinking, how in the hell am I going to make a flying knee bobblehead where the bobblehead doesn't break? Because if you can see right there, it's a very small space or small point where the foot would touch the base. So when you ship it, as a lot of you guys know, some of these postal carriers, they think they're Pele out there, or Ronaldo kicking the packages around. So a lot of people open up their bobblehead and it's broken. So one of the things I was thinking about for the 5-hour ride home from the UFC event is how in the hell can I do it? I want to make it so bad, and I want to make the fly knee look like a fly knee, but how can I do it? So what I eventually came up with is a removable bobblehead with the base.
There you go, right there.
So I can send it in 2 pieces, and then you, the end consumer, can put it in there, glue it in there, and it'll look like a fly knee bobblehead. So yeah, the detail is painstaking. I think about everything, that entails a bobblehead. I want to get Jorge's lines on his forehead right. I want to get his cornrows right. I definitely want to get his beard right. A lot of that is all in the art. So the art is the foundation for everything that I do.
Yeah, the beard and the corduroy on that's a must right there. You got that.
Thank you, man.
Got that part down pretty good.
Thank you.
Hey,
thank you. Yeah.
You have to get permission from these guys before you do it?
Oh yeah, absolutely. At the end of the day, it's a business. When you take dollars from someone and trade for a product, merchandise, whatever, using someone's likeness, I do everything on the up and up, Tom. There's a lot of guys out there on the underground. I call them black hat guys, where they'll make some shit of Conor McGregor or whoever fighter out there, and they'll just blitzkrieg, sell them, and get the hell out of there. Maybe sell them under a different name or a business, a fly-by-night business, try to collect the dollar bills and get out of there. I'm not about that whatsoever. I believe in paying the fighters. I believe in working with the fighters. And most importantly, I believe in memorializing the pose of these fighters that makes them great. Everyone's always going to remember the 5-second flying knee KO. So why in the world would I want to go in the underground, put on my black hat, do it quick and shady, make a few dollars, and that's what people are memorializing Jorge with. I would much rather do a up front business contract with these fighters and have them along for the ride where they help design it from A to Z. It's not only way more fun like that, but Tom, think about merchandise that you buy from your favorite athlete, not just MMA, basketball, football, whatever. Like, when can you tell me that you can purchase something that, say, Kobe Bryant or Tom Brady or something had their finger on the pulse of making it from A to Z? Very rare. Like, you can go to the Nike store, right, and buy the new Kobe's or buy the new LeBron James, and they'll sign it'll be a printed signature on the box, right? So that it's the LeBron. But how involved was LeBron James in actually making the shoe? You don't know. He could have been involved every step of the way, color, fit, everything. Or he could have just signed off on it and said, you guys do it, I don't give a shit, and then just signed the box. But you don't know that. With the MMA bobbleheads, 100% that the fighter is along every step of the way, and that's what's cool about these as well.
So, do you have any that were your favorites to work with? And the other question that one of my friends had was, what about submissions? Do you have any of the bobbleheads where there's actually a guy in an arm bar, or maybe a triangle choke, or have you came up with any of those type of deals yet?
So on the submission question, it takes 2 to tango on a submission, right? So it's hard to make a bobblehead with the victor submitting air, right? and the person getting submitted will not sign off on getting submitted on a bobblehead. No one wants a bobblehead of themselves getting choked the F out, right? Choked unconscious, so they won't sign off on that. You know, just like Ben Askren won't sign off on putting Ben's, you know, head at the end of the knee there. It's just not going to happen. So I have to think of poses in which fighters are, you know, by themselves in their moment of glory. Like Chuck Liddell's a great example with the big screen pose, you know. You know, that's a very iconic pose. Or Dan Henderson with his H-bombs, very iconic. So, you know, there's a lot of thought that goes into these, and it's a lot of back and forth with the fighter, because the fighter may say, Dave, I really love this photo of me, but the photo of them really isn't conducive for a bobblehead. Like the lean or the balance of the bobblehead, it would be very hard to make. So we have to go back and forth on choosing the best pose for that particular bobblehead.
Now, what about it? Like, I'm sure you've done many podcasts by now with many different guys like us. What does it take for just a guy out there, somebody out there that's just interested in getting a bobblehead? Would you work with anybody out there? Can a regular Joe get one of these bobbleheads?
Through me?
Yes.
Through me or through? No. Unfortunately, so I have another career. I have a pretty serious career. I'm a financial advisor. I've been doing it for over 10 years. I have over 1,000 clients. So that takes a lot of my time. So if I were to make a bobblehead, it's going to be of someone that I personally really love, and it's going to be for resale, because I can't, and then it takes a long time, Tom. It takes dozens of hours and tens of thousands of dollars. It's very art intensive. So I get asked all the time, hey, can you make one of my son? Can you make one of my wife or my dog or whatever? All the time, every other day I get that, and unfortunately I just don't have the time to do that. I wish I had several more of me to really dive into this business 100%, but right now it's just kind of like a side business that I hope maybe one day could be my full-time business.
Well, man, I can definitely see that you're passionate about your work. That's for sure. Your bobbleheads too, like what you were saying earlier about the old school bobbleheads. They mainly say the National Baseball League. They are all basically just the same exact shape with just a different cheap little painting on there. You've got one that stands out to me that has a ton of detail, and it seemed like you put a lot of work into it. Was the Bruce Buffer one, where he's holding a fight card, and I could be wrong, but somebody told me that the fight, it was actually a real fight card with Anderson Silva and Whiteman. Tell us about that one. There it is right there.
So here it is there.
Wow.
Here it is there. And there's the fight card there that you're talking about.
Look at that.
So if you can see closely
Look at the
there,
detail on that.
So the fight card is from the Anderson Silva Chris Weidman fight, where Weidman wins in the second round, 1 minute and 8 seconds into the second round. You can see, I don't know if it's in focus, but you can see the 108 there. There's Bruce and his earpiece and his watch that he wears. And what I really like about this bobblehead is that B. I don't know if you can see the B there, but when Bruce and I were going over the bobblehead, I noticed when Bruce was sitting across from me, he had a beautiful ring on with a big B on it. I said, hey, what's the story on that B? And he said that when his father passed away, he made it out of respect for his father. He made a family ring, and it's really close to his heart, this ring. So I said, you know what? I'm going to try really, really hard to get that ring on the bobblehead. And, if I make it, I make it. If I don't, I don't. But I'm going to do my best in trying to. So I thought it came out really good, the B on his ring there. But that's a little bit of a story there. And then Bruce is the first bobblehead that I made with the foot coming off the base to show like a lot of action. And his suit is kind of flying up in the air, and the intensity on his face. So I'm really happy with this Bruce Buffer one. One thing that is a lot of people don't know about the bobbleheads is that the fighters helped me design the box as well at the end, which is really cool because no box is the same. So, like, for example, since we're talking about the Bruce Buffer box, Bruce is into old movies. He's into race cars. He's into black and white vintage, old school. So I thought, you know what? Let's make a box with the race stripes, black and white vintage. Just have like a nice, like an older feel on it. And so that's how we can. Whereas Jorge, you know, I told him, hey man, why don't we? Since you just need the shit out of Ben's head, let's make that into a comic book. Let's make you look like a comic book, hero. So I made, we made a comic book cover of the box there. Yeah, so it's good. Like Randy Couture. A lot of people don't know that Randy spent 8 years in the Army. He was an Army sergeant.
Yes.
He taught hand-to-hand combat. He was the real deal. 101st Airborne Division. Yeah, Randy's the real deal. So I wanted to pay homage to Randy's service, and we made the little camouflage in there. And
Randy Couture's a legend.
Yeah, Randy Couture's a legend. So like, you know, when I was telling Randy, hey man, let's pay homage to your service in the military and make the bobblehead box Army centric. And the first thing he said was, why in the hell would you make a bobblehead with Army on it? You know, it makes no sense. But I said, Randy, the thing about these bobbleheads is that it's personal. It's not just everyday Joe buying a bobblehead and, okay, here's my Randy Couture bobblehead. I want to make it an experience from the fan to the athlete themselves. So when they open it, Tom, the first thing that they see is not only a certificate of authenticity, but look, Randy wrote a beautiful note to all his fans.
Oh,
Thank you.
Personalize this.
Yeah, and every fighter does that. Jorge's the first fighter that did.
Really?
But every other fighter writes a note to the fans from them to you. Thank you for being a fan. Thank you for keeping my memory in. I appreciate you. Thank you to my team. And so it's more than just the bobblehead. It's an experience.
Who do you like working the best?
You got to work with Randy Couture, man. That's so dope right there. Most people, a lot of these kids today, it won't be long before a lot of people won't remember who Randy Couture. A lot of these younger kids. But man, how was it just working with Randy Couture one-on-one?
I mean, he's the nicest guy that you ever meet. Knowing that this guy can kill you within a minute with his bare hands. I mean, Randy's the best. He gives back to the community. He owns a gym, Extreme Couture, in Las Vegas, in which, he mentors a lot of fighters, yet he's very, very humble. He's such a hard worker, and talk about Mount Rushmore of MMA. Working with all these guys, Tom, with Chuck Liddell, Dan Anderson, Randy Couture, Cowboy Cerrone. It's incredible. At the end of the day, Tom, I'm a fan. That's all I am. I'm just a giant fan. I've been a fan for 25 years. Don't ask me about basketball. Put a gun to my head, I couldn't name 3 professional players. Don't ask me about football. I don't know anything about soccer and hockey. All I know is about combat sports. So to be sitting across from Randy Couture, it's unbelievable. It's like a major basketball fan sitting across from Kobe Bryant. I'm so lucky. If I died tomorrow, I'd be the luckiest guy just because I got to do this with these athletes. It's been an amazing ride.
Now, are these bobbleheads, are they made here in America?
Well, they're made all over the world, Tom. So the art's done everywhere. My main painter is in Orange County. Big shout out going out if he hears this. But yeah, it's a long process.
And man, you obviously have a big passion for martial arts. Growing up, did you train yourself? Are you into? Because I've seen a lot of pictures with you with Brian Ortega. Did you train with Brian?
No, I won't train with Brian. He'll choke me in a second. It'd be embarrassing to get on the mat with him. Yeah, but I've trained in martial arts pretty much my entire life from when I was a teenager. I never really went far with it, but I practiced in several different martial arts. The last one being probably Muay Thai. I'll still do a little Muay Thai. I'll do it for exercise now. I'm a little bit older. I got hurt doing some jiu-jitsu a few years ago where, I just realized my body, as you get a little bit older, you don't recover as well. I got another full-time job. I can't risk, being bedridden with a broken back or, a screwed up shoulder or whatever. So I just do it for fun and exercise now.
Man, and like everybody, before you got big with the bobblehead, what were you doing before? And before you had the bobbleheads got big, what type of work were you doing? And did you ever think that the bobblehead business would go to what it is now today?
Well, so to answer your first question, what I did before is what I still currently do now. So I'm a financial advisor. So I get up really early with the stock market. I deal with a lot of people's money with their financial planning. It's a very important and a very serious job when someone trusts you with their life savings, and whether you're 25 years old or you're 75 years old and into retirement, I take that job very, very seriously, and I still do. So that's what I was doing before, and I'm still continuing to do it now. The bobbleheads just came on like a tsunami, just like a lightning bolt just hit me. So I had to find time before and after my normal career, super early in the morning, super late at night, and I just worked hard. And I think that's kind of like the theme of my life and becoming into a spot where I don't want to say successful, but having some success at working hard at what you do. So with anything that you do in life, whether you're struggling in school or you're in a relationship that's not working out, if you want something bad enough and you work hard enough, you'll find a way. And that's kind of the big separator with a lot of small businesses out there or people that want to be successful at something. That's where the big fall off happens, is when you get punched in the jaw or punched in the gut and you fall down. Because anyone can, great ideas are a dime a dozen, Tom. Everyone's got a fucking great idea, right? But acting on that great idea and getting knocked down with that great idea, the hardest part is getting back up. Like that old adage that Mike Tyson said, where everyone's got a great game plan until they get punched in the face. That works for business too, Tom. I mean, I have a great business plan. These bobbleheads is great, awesome. But, all of a sudden you turn the corner and someone punches you right in your nose. And then someone comes in and kicks you right in your belly and you're, bleeding on the ground. What are you going to do? But a lot of people stay down. But I think the testament is you got to get back up and keep on going. And that's, what I'm most proud of in this bobblehead business. So to answer your question, did I see this bobblehead business getting off the ground to where it is? Yes, absolutely, 100% yes, and I see it going even further. I want to be the best bobblehead maker that's ever lived. I know that sounds kind of funny, but the bobbleheads stand for themselves, and I want to make a mark, where people know where to get, the best bobblehead ever made.
Yeah, you definitely have a point, because there's a ton of them out there, but the quality isn't as good. You can tell when you look them up, and you can tell right away the quality and the fine detail isn't there. But there's probably different, kids from all over the world. I won't say any place particular, but all over the world that are making these things all day. But
right.
Where do you see yourself in 5 years from now with this bobblehead company? Where do you see it going from here? Especially with the way that China and Pakistan and all these places are they're just flooding the market with these things. They're able to make them, but like I said, in a cheaper way. Where do you see your legit bobblehead company going to be?
Well, I'm still in a place, Tom, where I'm planning like not 5 years in advance, but like 5 months in advance, because I need, believe it or not, a lot of fighters, most fighters still say no. More fighters say no than say yes. So it may look like I'm coming out with like a good pace of good, high, recognizable fighters, but behind the curtain, I'm still fucking grinding out there. I'm still calling and texting and IGing and commenting and doing whatever I can to get in front of these managers, agents, or fighters themselves, just for them to give me a shot or for them to say yes. All I want is to produce the good artwork. So, 5 years, man. I mean, if you asked me that question just 6 months ago, I might have given you the answer of bankruptcy, because I didn't know that I'd have Jorge Masvidal, who's all of a sudden the hottest fighter in the UFC. So I don't know what's around the corner. I've been contacted by different organizations, the NFL and mostly the NFL. I just had a meeting with the NHL a couple weeks ago. But that's not my passion. If I'm going to make a bobblehead and I'm going all in, it's going to be combat sports 100%. But if the business side starts, taking me towards NFL, and I can make some classic NFL players from when I was a kid and I used to love the Raiders or whoever, if I can make an old school Lyle Alzado or Marcus Allen, you know what I mean? I would love to make an old Lyle Alzado. I had a poster of him in my room back in the day. I would love to make classic, revamp the cheap bobbleheads out there of these guys that have already been made, Bo Jackson or whoever, and come up with a new bobblehead for the new school of these old retro dudes.
And who do you got coming up? Can you let out any secrets of who one of the next famous fighters might be that you're coming out with?
Yeah, so in about 3 weeks, I'm going to announce the newest fighter. So I make a big announcement on who it is. It's not so much that I want to keep it a secret till the end, although that's part of it and that's part of the fun. But timing-wise, I got to make sure that all the I's are dotted, the T's are crossed, and everything's ready to go before I make an announcement. Because the worst thing, Tom, is to make an announcement and shit goes bad, and things go sideways, and all of a sudden the fighter's not ready, I'm not ready, the box isn't ready, and then everyone's waiting and going, hey man, what the hell? So I kind of wait till the last minute, but I can tell you that in middle February I'll be announcing the next fighter, and then the fighter after that will be announced right after that, about 3 weeks later in early March.
Man, that's cool.
By the way, both fighters are legends. Both fighters that I'm coming up with next, household names, for 100%.
Nowadays, it makes you wonder. There's so many of them now. That's cool, man. It sounds like It sounds like you're doing what you love.
I am.
When we talk about like the NFL ones and the basketball and the baseball, do they not? They don't make them as detailed as the ones that you do, or are they
man.
Pretty basic?
One thing about the bobbleheads, these MMA bobbleheads, I don't care what sport you put them up against as far as bobblehead to bobblehead. The other major sports out there, they just don't put the artwork into them. And I'll tell you why, and I won't bore you with it, because it all comes down to money, and it all comes down to business, okay? So you're the LA Dodgers, right? Your iconic keystone franchise player is Clayton Kershaw, okay? So you release 10,000 bobbleheads to the first 10,000 people that show up to the game that particular day of Clayton Kershaw. Well, what are you instantly going to do, right? You're going to put more butts in the seats. You're going to sell more beer. You're going to sell more parking, more hot dogs. All money goes up. Why in the world would you spend any extra money on making a Clayton Kershaw, your franchise player, look better than it needs to be? You're going to do the bare minimum,
right,
in which the Clayton Kershaw barely looks like Clayton Kershaw. You're going to fulfill your promise as the Dodger organization. You're going to give out 10,000 of these cheaply made bobbleheads, and people are going to come. And not only are they going to come for the bobblehead, they're going to come and spend money. And that's the business model behind these bobbleheads. So there's no reason for any of these organizations to put more money into the artistic value of these bobbleheads. So a guy like me comes along, and I don't care if you buy a hot dog or a beer or whatever. I want to make these bobbleheads the best that they possibly can look, while keeping the bobblehead theme like a little bit cartoony and fun. So that's the big differential between me and MLB and NFL and NHL. They're not gonna make these like the way I'm making them. Now, do I want to have meetings with these guys and say, hey guys, hey Dodgers, why not, instead of give away your 10,000 Clayton Kershaws, whatever, do whatever you want, but let me have Clayton Kershaw, and let's make a really nice collectible, number it, and let's put it in the gift shop, so we can honor Clayton Kershaw for all that he is, a future Hall of Famer and your franchise player. let's honor him the right way instead of this messed up way where it's like some kind of dude on a base and you don't even know who it is unless you see the words Clayton Kershaw.
Yeah, those old ones, they just look like a snow cone cup turned upside down with a little paint on there. Yeah, yours are definitely, man, there's something else. Man, I wish you the best, bro, and I could see you. I could see you later on, man, doing like a sick ass Mike Tyson or a Michael Jordan, you know what I mean?
Yes,
really do it with the right kind of detail to give those guys the respect that they deserve.
That's what I want to do.
Hey man, going back to the MMA, which one, if you can tell us, which one has been the best seller out of all these? Is there one in particular that when it came out, it sold better than any of the rest?
Yeah, I mean, by far the Jorge Masvidal Flying Knee Bobblehead. I released it. I released it soon after. He just did the Flying Knee in six months ago, so it's still fresh in everybody's mind. So what I ended up doing was I went on my Instagram account and I didn't have Jorge as a client yet, and I told everyone, hey, tag Jorge Masvidal if you guys are interested in seeing me make this Flying Knee Bobblehead. So he got back to me right away. He said, let's do it. I started making it. I took everyone along for the ride with me. I showed everyone the process of making it. You can check that process out still at MMABobblehead.com, where you can see a lot of behind-the-scenes stuff. And then when it was time to, sell the bobblehead, it was really good sales. And now coming up this week, Tom, I'm actually fulfilling all the orders. So all the Fly Knee bobbleheads are going out this week, which is a really exciting time for me.
You're gonna get a lot of the orders for that, definitely.
Yeah, I hope so.
Hey, those are gonna go like I can see it already. You're gonna sell that on that. How much does one of those go for? If you can get one now.
Yeah, so they're sold out on the autographed bobbleheads. The autographed ones were $99.
It's not too bad.
And that's really cheap when you think about an autographed piece of memorabilia. No, it's not. And actually, Jorge wants me to sell them for a lot higher, so I sold out of the autographed bobbleheads. He signed a few more, but they're not going to be $99 because business is business, and you know what I mean. So there are only going to be a few more. I haven't decided on the price yet there, but the non-autographed ones are going to be $79.
That's cool, man. That's pretty cool. You got GSP?
No GSP. I'm working on it. We're working on it. Listen, Tom, I'm working on everybody. I'm not like a sniper in the bell tower, picking and choosing, who I want to shoot, go after. I'm like storming the beach kind of guy with a fucking shotgun. Just boom, 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 boom. Just I'll take anybody and anyone who wants to say yes to me. And as long as I feel like people want it, and I feel like we can sell it. I would love to do it. John Jones, GSP, Hoist Gracie, even someone like Tank Abbott would be a lot of fun to make for the old school guys. Things like that. An old school Vitor Belfort where he's all yoked out. That'd be a lot of fun. Israel Adesanya, that would be a lot of fun. So Max Holloway, he'd be a lot of fun. The potential is endless, especially if you are a fan of these guys. There's a lot of guys that are just superstars out there that aren't even on my radar yet as far as making them.
Yeah, man, that's cool. That's great. Hey, what do you think about the last fight that we just witnessed with Conor McGregor and Cerrone? How did you feel about that match?
Well, it's a loaded question, Tom, because Cowboy Cerrone's my guy. He's not only my personal friend, but I have a bobblehead made out of Cowboy Cerrone. So, I was rooting for Cowboy to win. He's a wonderful guy. We raised money for charity together this past summer. So obviously I wanted Cowboy to win. I thought he had more tools to win. I was probably just as shocked as you and everybody else with those shoulder shots. It happened. As a fight fan, I would have loved to see the fight go on at least a few more minutes. And I love a good fist fight like everybody else. But, shit happens. And, at the end of the day, what can you say? Conor McGregor pulled it out, and he pulled it out in a unbelievable manner, starting with those crazy shoulder strikes that I've never seen before. Hats off to Conor McGregor. But you can't take away the legend that Cowboy Cerrone is.
Man, so besides making the cool bobbleheads, just like being what I do with the podcast, we get to meet all these interesting people in life. You know what I mean? It's cool meeting these fighters up close and talking with them. But man, you've really got to meet just those two alone is enough to talk about for months. In person with Cowboy Cerrone, and then also working with Jorge Masvidal one-on-one. Those are both two real dudes right there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What they do in front of the camera, like, yeah, they're pushing it. They're, giving the crowd a little show or whatever. But those are two real dudes in life. Man, Cowboy Cerrone, that must have been something else. That he goes way back. So were you around watching like the WEC days?
Of course. My fandom goes back into the mid-'90s. I worked at a nightclub in which the bouncers were UFC fighters, and our main bouncer was a UFC referee. But when I say UFC, this was UFC pre-Zuffa days.
Right.
I was a fan of the UFC before they sold to Zuffa. I think it was SCG back then. And
where was this? Where were you working at?
In LA, I was a DJ at a nightclub. I used to be a professional DJ for a long time, and back then I was cutting my teeth working for free at this nightclub, and it actually was a very busy nightclub. We probably had 12 bouncers on staff, and out of the 12 bouncers, I would say 6 were mixed martial artists, and out of those 6, 2 were fighting in the UFC. One was a referee, Larry Landless. He's a referee, and he's. Yeah. Okay. So and he's still a judge now. So long story short, one day Boss Rutan came into the club. It was like mid-'90s, 1996 or so, and I got to talk to Boss Rutan for a while, and that's when I became a massive fan. I started following. I said, how can a guy this nice and this funny be a stone cold killer like that? How could this be? And so I started following his career, and I just fell in love, 25 years ago with the sport, and it's never simmered down. I've never taken a break. I've always been full steam ahead. I'm a massive fan. So, to answer your question, of course, I watched Cowboy Cerrone back in the WBC days, yeah.
Man, dude, this life is a trip. It seems like you're definitely on the path that you were meant to be, going all the way back then. If you think about it, the way everything built up, and then to the point of the story with the Dan Henderson bobblehead, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's pretty cool, man. That's pretty cool. So whenever there's a big event like Bellators or UFCs, are you able to get into those shows with what you do, or do you even want to do you even want to be in there in the front row?
The front row, yeah, I'll go anywhere to be in the front row. But as you know, Tom, being in the front row is a lot different than being up in the rafters. So, like for example, I was in Vegas all week this past week for this last fight, and on Saturday morning I drove home. I could have went to the fight, but I was going to be in the cheaper seats, and I'd much rather just watch it on TV on my couch, and it is what it is. I love going to the fights. I love everything about the fights. I love all the stuff that you don't see from your couch that you get to see when you're live there. All the behind the scenes, the family, the friends, the gurgling, the blood, the emotion that goes on whether you win or lose, all the stuff that the cameras don't pick up. I'm into all that. But it was a long week for me in Las Vegas, so I decided to head home. I was in Las Vegas 4 times out of the last 6 weeks, Tom. So for a degenerate like me who loves whiskey and loves the dice, I got to take a break.
Sometimes not the best place to be if you're a degenerate that loves dice.
Love the dice, man. Love the dice.
Oh, man. Well, hey, brother, man, we really appreciate you coming on to our show. We're still a growing podcast, and to get someone like you is a real honor. And like I said, we're fans of the bobblehead, and we hope that you keep doing what you're doing. And man, I hope that you do go on to make like badass ones of Mike Tyson, Michael Jordan, different Joe Montana, Jerry Rice. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
and really put that detail that it deserves to get.
Absolutely. At the end of the day, Tom, I'm just like every other guy out there. I love my sports heroes. I love the Wayne Gretzky. I love Jerry Rice. I love all these guys. And if I can do whatever I can do to honor them, I'm going to do it.
Oh, it will too. All you have to do, guys, is is look at these. Go online and look at them. You can see the detail. They'll come up right away, and guys, you'll see Dave Manley. Those are the real ones. Don't just go on there and buy anyone that's coming out of anywhere, because there's a bunch of them that are like that. Look at the ones you can tell right away from the picture. They got fine detail. They're made really nice. Look for the one where the piece comes off the stand, right, Dave?
Yes. Yeah, Jorge Masvidal fly knee bobblehead.
Can you show us that again, Dave? Show us what a guy that's right now goes, I want to get one of these things, should be looking for to get the real one.
Yeah. So I mean, you can't find these anywhere else. There's no knockoffs.
So look at
you
that.
can't knock these off. So it comes out like that, and it goes in like this. Whereas like this Bruce Buffer, it doesn't come out. It's on the base, really good there. So
And that Bruce
you can
Buffer,
go to
guys,
MMA.
is legit. That Bruce Buffer's legit.
Thank you, man. Thank you. I appreciate that. You can go over to MMABobblehead.com and you can see behind the scenes how they're made. You can hear a little bit of a story from me, and that's where you can make all the purchases. One more thing, Tom. I make little Christmas ornaments out of these guys too, so you can buy.
Do you have any of those to show?
No, but you can go see them on the site. You can go see them on the site. Yeah, I don't as I'm looking around my office.
Yeah, you say that in front of the wrong moms, dude. Yeah, you're gonna have moms getting those ornaments. If my mom heard that, she would already be on there doing it. So, yeah, Christmas ornaments, guys. You heard it right there. And like I said, man, I wish you the best of luck. Thank you for coming on to our show, and we'll keep an eye on you. And hopefully, you can spread the word about MMAFightPass.com.
Yes.
And, thank you once again, my brother. I wish you the best of luck.
Thank you for having me, Tom. Thank you.
Guys, thanks again for tuning in to MMAFightPass.com. That was Dave Manley from MMABobbleheads.com. If you want to get a bobblehead, a real one, the real thing, take a look at their website, guys. All right? Thanks again, my brother.
Thank you, man. Great questions. Great show.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate it. You guys have a great evening, and we'll see you next time. Thanks again, Dave.
Okay.